To enjoy this and other great episodes on Patreon, check out the link in the description and subscribe via the Black Kluge tier for full access to over 100 exclusive episodes. For those of you who would like some QF swag on Teepublic, t-shirts, magnets, mugs, what have you, also click on the link in the description.
Artie, maybe it's to take makeup off.
You want to know something? I'm going to tell you something great about Beth.
Yeah.
She never moves her bowels.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Maybe once a month.
I've never seen. I've been.
Honest to God.
I've been away with Dana,
Like, to the point that I'm afraid for her health.
We've
Getting excellent reports on you.
Do you ever shut up, or does Mr. X just have to punch her in the face?
Now you're going to bring me. So
shut
I'm
up.
going to
Ask the producer of the, Robin, when you get an opinion on your own, I'll
Wait
talk
a minute.
to you.
Are you?
I've put out hit albums. I had the fastest selling album in history. What, are you going to be upset with Jason because he whacks off to your wife? I mean, that turns me on. And I got up, I pished. I don't want to be in a wig and a purse. I do that in my personal life. Yes, I'm like a woman who's been raped.
How much is Howard paying you a week? I'm paying you more, okay? Fucking, give me a fucking break.
Now, look, I don't want to get into a long explanation. That's not what I came here for. My audience isn't here to laugh.
I mean, Gary's got a wife and kids. And if I leave, who the fuck is going to hire him?
Joe, hi, you're on the air. Hey, man. Yeah. And nothing.
Listen, I think it's time you come out of the closet with Ralph.
Oh, please.
Because I know deep down, I mean that literally.
All right, so I'm a homosexual.
You're a sword swallower.
Right. I'm a homosexual. You're right.
Thanks, Howard.
Right. I'm going to tell you. I'm caught. Good. In fact, that's good. That would be easy. I'd love to be gay. It'd be so goddamn simple. But then when people ask me about why I'm separated from my wife, I just go, you know what? I'm gay.
I told you something. I will not say no. I told you it's a personal defect of mine.
You don't have to say no. All you have to say is, yeah, that'd be great. I could use the help with Casey. That's fine.
No, I don't want to be told how to say it. I told you my problem. I don't want to be asked. You don't know that?
Bad position.
No, you put me in a bad position. You asked me. Then I'm not a good guy. I want to be a good guy. Listen to me again. I'm going to say for the 15th billionth time since I've known you. Don't ask me if you can leave early. You know what you have to do, and you know when you have to leave. Don't ask me.
So that means when I have to work.
When I say yes, you can leave, it means no.
Can I leave?
I have no idea what you make.
Really?
I have no idea.
I got a guy now who's finding out the real names of the occupations of what the people do who bully me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm kind of a fighter, so.
Welcome, folks, to QF, a podcast about Howard Stern. I'm Fillmore, a.k.a. Jim Fix, and with me is Sam, and guess what we're covering? Obviously, you know from the title, we're going back into Hurricane Sandy. If you thought we forgot, you're wrong. It's just we needed a break from it because it was so cyclical and repetitive, and we also needed to get other stuff done as well. We're GTD.
Yeah, I was at one point wishing I was in a hurricane.
Yeah, so we're going to continue, and it's 8 video segments, but we're not going to play every single one of them because the next one, it features like Ganji coming in and John Lieberman coming in, and it's really boring. It's just really unlike the 15 Foundation where every piece was kind of critical to the puzzle in some way, this one isn't like that. So we're going to go through a little more of this. Of course, Gary's going to call in at some point during this. So here we go. 5, 4, 3. Sorry. I didn't need to count down.
Leave that in.
Yeah.
That's how it works. That's it. You want this? Everyone goes, you're so fucking lucky. It's not luck. There's no luck. It's not luck. It's hard work.
Even people who look at us now.
It was a tremendous amount of luck in his case.
Well, just remember what we recorded on Tuesday where he said that it's not hard work, that it's so easy, that anybody could do it, that why would he retire? All he has to do is open his mouth and talk. He doesn't understand why guys retire. It's so easy.
With reference to, who was it that he was discussing?
He was talking about other DJs who are retiring from the radio business, and he said, why would I hang it up? It's so easy.
Well, yeah. Okay. So yeah, he wasn't talking about anybody in general. He wasn't talking about anybody specifically. He was talking in general. Why would you retire? They give you a boatload of money, or they give you a bunch of money, and you bring back Jackie and I on Twitter and on me, and we have a dialogue on Twitter, and messaging each other. It's like, dude, we have a little disagreement as to how much money he's actually making now, but that's neither here nor there. Either way, I said, if he's potting Robin down and he's not using Fred, get used to, and he's doing it during these interviews, get used to the day where he decides, well, they're not contributing anything during the interviews. The interviews are all I really want to do anymore. The next contract comes and he's going to take it. It'll be for reduced money. And I think he's going to let go of Robin and Fred.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also think I do agree with you. I wouldn't have agreed with you 2 years ago, but seeing as how they have been basically relegated to background noise and once in a while calling on them for something, he either gets annoyed when Robin contributes to the conversation, or she's so unsure of herself that she can contribute that it's awkward.
Yep.
And like he's saying here, this is hard work. No, it's not. You admitted it this week that this is such an easy job. Why would you hang it up?
Right. First of all, what he wants to say, what he should be saying is it was hard work back in the day. But even then, it wasn't hard work in terms of you had Fred put your records away. You stole from other DJs. You didn't create things organically. And the stuff you did create wasn't necessarily that funny.
Right. You had other people do.
Yeah.
You had other people listening to the TV shows for you to cut up your audio, to remix your bullshit, to do your phony phone calls. I mean, it's been easy for a long time.
Oh yeah, you think about it. You've had so much assistance with the fact that your thievery wasn't fully accessible until people started file sharing, which was well into your career.
Well, now that social media exists and the internet exists, he's escaped it. And the people now who have discovered that he's a thief, he's so irrelevant that it doesn't even matter.
No, it does not one bit.
Don't know what we did to get here.
Oh, people have no
and they all
fucking
want to
clue.
be here.
Oh, yeah. Well, now, yeah, this looks like fun.
It's easy now.
You got it made. You got staff. I didn't have any staff.
There were plenty of times we didn't have staff.
When I worked in Detroit, and I'm sitting there and shoveling the snow off my car, 8 feet of snow off my car, so I can drive down that treacherous highway to get to this dumb radio station that no one was listening to anyway, but it was my job.
Oh, you trooper. Tell the average working stiff who's got snow to fucking, ice. They got ice to chisel off their fucking car every morning. But you're going to talk about this like you were in World War I.
I know. I live in Buffalo, so I have no sympathy for this. I also, the amount of times, and I live in a more snowy belt of the United States, there's rarely a time it's 8 feet. I mean, there's snow. I personally hate when it's ice more because it's harder to deal with.
Oh,
it's
brutal.
more arm strength, and you're tired, and you're like, fuck this. But
you're taking a bat to the windshield.
It's so annoying.
Yeah.
Got there. That's it. That's what put food on the table, was my career. What type of mechanism will you be using?
What the fuck is he looking over at on the other side? He hardly ever does that. What the fuck could he be possibly looking at?
Well, let's look at the studio. What isn't there to look at in this?
Well, Robin's not there.
I know, but what I'm saying is, look at how busy this is.
Well, yeah, obviously. It's like...
type of mechanism.
What type of mechanism does he use?
I don't know. I don't know what his mechanism is. I don't think I have any phones, do I? Again.
No phones right now. We're working on it, though.
All right. That's good.
Wow.
Working on it.
Some things never change.
Some things never change.
Robin, it's a hurricane. I mean... It's their fault, Fillmore, that they can't. Oh, the telephone line went down in a hurricane. Oh, some things never change. Fuck you, cunt.
If everything was buried in a live volcano and melted to the ground, they'd still be bitching about it. Yeah,
It was working when I tried it earlier.
That's another guy. He didn't show up yesterday. He didn't show up. And it's fine. I mean, listen.
I probably won't be here.
I know.
Yeah, but Howard, the day...
So now Shuley going after Scott the engineer.
I heard that really lame impression.
Of course. And now, so we were talking to ourselves, asking. Yeah, that didn't sound right. We were discussing Ronnie's wedding, and more notably, who wasn't there. Shuli wasn't there. I think who else was it? Fred wasn't there because Fred hates weddings and doesn't go, and probably didn't even give a gift. Or his gift is in the mail.
Good callback.
Right. I have to go write a check. And
a year later.
Yeah, right. A year later, when you call me on it and thank me for my non-gift. And obviously Howard didn't go, and he didn't make much of it on the show. But Shuli not being there, being in the back office staff and having such involvement with the Whack Packers, and then being with the news team and stuff. Now, mind you, other news people weren't there as well, but it goes to show you that if he was really tight with any of those people, Shuli, with Ronnie specifically, he would have been there. Shuli has no respect for Shuli. Ronnie has no respect for Shuli.
No, I don't think a lot of people don't. I was listening to a little bit this week on the wedding, and Howard was talking about it, especially when it came to John Hine. He had him in to talk about the gambling and stuff and playing craps with a bunch of people. But
Right.
Here's how I know JD is officially divorced. They were talking about some stalker girl who kept following the crew around the entire weekend. And she wanted JD apparently, and they were saying, why don't you fuck her? You should have fucked her. And Howard was like, oh, I had some wild pussy back in the day. I had my crazy pussy. And I was like, wait, which is it? Because I just remember that anecdote we played where he said, no, I never gave out my phone number. Or, I never did that stuff. Which is it? You either had a bunch of crazy pussy or you never took women home. Remember when him and Artie had that conversation?
He said, I couldn't get laid. He said the ugliest, fattest girls, I couldn't even get them. The girls would laugh at me.
But he said to Artie that he never took home strange pussy.
That's right.
And then,
like that in his mad, quote unquote, mad tear days, because we're talking at different eras of his life, right?
Well, Artie was like, wait a minute, that's not what, when I was a fan, you used to say. And he goes, no, really, I never took home strange pussy. But now in 2023, he's telling everybody that he took home wild, crazy pussy.
Well, we've got the audio. Ralph says he would leave with some chick and I'd be stuck there in the VIP room, and then they'd throw me out because VIP was no longer there.
Who the fuck are you? You doppelganger?
Howard's body double.
After 9/11, 9/12, there was no reason not to get to work.
Why should I try to come into work?
And I knew, I could smell sitting there in his house that he was not going to work on.
Well, if you go to Scott's house, you know how much fun is going on in there. Why would you want to leave?
Robin tried to escape two disasters that day. One was the terrorist attack. The other was Scott's vehicle.
I don't know if we'll ever cover the 9/11 show because, number one, it's really long. Second of all, there's so much assholery involved in it, as important as it might be to some people. And it's also, a lot of people just don't want to hear it. Loads of people do. I think more people want to hear it than not. But there's 30-40% of you guys on Patreon, for example, that will not tune into it, I'm certain.
Well, I kind of think it's really parallel to what we're going through, world crisis right now, how everything kind of seems to be exploding. And interesting how we haven't learned a goddamn thing, and we still have these people in charge who are rah war. Like, did we learn nothing?
And Robin's like, bitch. He's like, oh God, it's like Robin debating some people's work ethic. Now, mind you, I will say about Robin, she had so little to do on the show. There's no reason for her to ever miss a fucking day. And the only time she did was, of course, her surgery. And, we're not talking the Cleveland book signing. That's a different story. That's not at work. But when she had her surgery and she was out getting treatment and stuff, obviously that's a different situation. But like her talking about Scott's work ethic, when we've heard the stories about Scott and what he had to do to make fucking ends meet.
Well, she smells it, Fillmore, that she smells that he wasn't going to be in work as she's saying this from bed.
Yes. At home.
Yeah.
She tried everything. Did you have Scott drop you off at the mall, Robin?
I did. I had him drop,
sorry.
and they closed on me.
I like that Scott wasn't here for Yom Kippur.
Yeah.
Are you religious? No, but I do want to honor my...
Honor what?
Honor what?
Look, I would if I'd take Passover. I'd take every fucking Rosh Hashanah. I'd take every fucking Jewish holiday off if I was Jewish.
I don't understand why it's not crazier for Robin to get dropped off at the mall on 9/11 versus hanging out at somebody's house during a terrorist attack. I mean, that to me is more insane.
Yeah, a little bit. And she hear what she said. And they quit on me. They closed the mall. They wouldn't open for me. Oh, sorry. The Robin entrance is the West Wing. They didn't open special for me.
It was one of the worst days in America's history, and she's fucking miffed that they won't stay open for her. Oh, I'm sorry. Macy's is closing, ma'am. Get the fuck out of here.
Carrie and I covered this early on, like the big tragedy when she realized, and I love Ben's Photoshop, was that she realized if she was in the tower, she couldn't walk downstairs to save her life.
It'll never not be funny.
Not about the thousands of other people who lost their lives in it, fuck's sake. And not to mention the first responders that died, fuck's sake.
None of my commitments other than work.
Yes, I have other commitments. Hey, you don't know. And I like when everyone gets mad at me. They go, "You don't know. You don't know what I'm up to.
Who are you?"
Yeah.
Well, remember when Scott was a member of the Block Party group, and then he decided he wanted to leave the group because Ronnie left to do some work.
Yeah.
So he decided he needed a day off from the Block Party too, and he lied and said he had a family wedding to go to.
A family cousin.
Trust me,
no wedding.
No one's giving Scott the recording studio to run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, can't be there. Hey, when I was talking to Gary, here's another one. Howard, you're such a fucking asshole about this. Can I depend on you or shit? Do you forget already that during Hurricane Irene, you had your personal weatherman and flew out to Pittsburgh like a fucking pussy? Yeah, I flew out to Pittsburgh, but I didn't do it on work day.
Hello, Al Roker?
Yeah, no kidding.
You're a pussy on your day off.
I'm a pussy. I can do whatever I want on my day off. I don't care.
You have so many of them.
And I'm not a pussy. My wife wanted the animals moved, and we moved them. And we had nowhere else to go, and she wanted to go see her family. She said, "Let's do it." I said, "Okay."
She wanted to move what, from a fucking stately mansion?
Way to throw Beth under the bus. Remember what a big deal it was for him to even meet her family? They had to have Dr. Abloh in, and he had to make it like he was sacrificing, like he was losing a leg.
He made it like it was a sit down with the Tatalias and the Barzinis.
He did. Was he like put a gun behind the toilet?
Yeah, fuck.
So in the middle of a storm, I got on a plane. That's how much of a pussy I am. You fucking asshole. Guarantee another guy. Guy who ever wrote this letter, if I could find him, it's another guy sitting at home, probably out of work, or, and sitting there going, "Woe is me. Why can't I find a job?"
You wonder why, and people ask themselves why his influence faded. Well, pissing on the fans like this was not a particularly good way to do it. And the other thing is, if you'd had a bit more balls and actually let someone on the line and went at them. No, it's shadowboxing with an email.
Exactly, and not being funny either. I could see if you decided to come in and do a really funny show. Yeah. But this is the show. Shadowboxing with emails and narcissistically talking about yourself while shitting on the entire staff.
You don't even get audio. Like, it's not even audio of Andy Dick anymore. It's just theoretical statements or assumptions based on whatever, some intel he thinks is crucial.
Well, what did he do with Michael Rappaport that we just played? He got a little bit of pushback.
Oh, what you mean the recent recording that we did?
Yes, he could not wait to hang up with him. That's why he doesn't. No, so he's got to either read the emails, shadowbox with the tape. He can't have a real caller challenge him.
Oh God, that one time when the she called in and said, that he was a hypocrite for making fun of Deirdre Imus and Deirdre and Imus, their cancer ranch or whatever, and then saying, if it wasn't for Imus, no one would care about this person, Deirdre's whatever it was, her side project. And then they were saying, well, if it wasn't for you, no one would give a fuck about Beth and her calendar and her book and everything else. And then she got on the air. Like, she definitely got on the air, and he said, like, oh, I never heard the wrap up show. She goes, I know you did. And he got flustered. He started going, I got to bail out of this call. I can't deal with crazy women. And that when I heard that, I said, so this is what happens to him in the face of real opposition. He folds like a fucking deck chair.
But we've seen it even on a lesser scale, like people who challenge him slightly, like a Bill Maher or something. It's all, oh, I don't mean that. Or he doesn't, he stands for absolutely nothing. He's terrified of confrontation.
Yes.
And he's terrified of he's terrified of being challenged in front of an audience too.
He loses control, and he lashes out aimlessly at everything around him. That's how like how little self-control he has over himself when this happens.
Even when it's not even a challenge, when it's something like an interview and they're just asking him basic questions that you would expect any interviewer to ask, he gets so nervous that that he just starts, humping them, hugging them, kissing them, because you can't even, it's not, you're being defensive over basic questions.
Yeah, well, and all that whole fucking interview, and like we said many times, he does it every time there's an interview that's long form, so he can kill any opportunity to possibly ask him personal questions that he doesn't want to answer, that he knows he's going to feel uncomfortable answering. He's comfortable blathering and knowing he's not giving anybody anything, or repeating talking points for the upteenth time. So no different than Jackie. When Jackie does interviews, it's the same answers to even slightly similar questions. Even if they're different questions, he'll find a way to crowbar his, certain same anecdotes. Unfortunately, it's like a jukebox that only plays certain songs.
Yeah, well, he thinks that, if you're not a trained listener, you think that he's asking these shocking out of left field questions during these sort of interviews when he does appearances on, like, let's say Letterman or Bill Maher or whatever. But these shocking questions they're not meant to be shocking on purpose. They're meant to distract away from him at all costs.
That's right.
At all costs.
And it's just like, in the better half, I was discussing this with okay, was it you?
Oh, yeah.
And we were saying how the reason why he called in during the better half was because Beth was getting drunk and not able to direct traffic the way he ordered her to, and told her, this is what you have to do. It can't be about you and me. I want it to be about everybody else. And because he couldn't count on her, he decided, I got to step in. And that's why he called in.
And I think she was starting to sound a little cunty.
Yes, and he had to do damage control because it was looking bad. And in the end, it didn't matter. He looked bad. She looked bad for the most part.
Yes.
Yep.
They were attacking me on Twitter. How dare I come after Gary? Gary's been here for years. How dare I open my mouth and goof on him? I said, what?
Who's goofing on him? No one was even goofing on him. I just said, Gary, I can't make that decision for you. I gave you options. You can stay in the city in a hotel, or you can go home. And either way, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh, it sounds fine.
I'm going to be here. Yeah. What is your mechanism? I go, I don't know my mechanism. I'm just going to be here. I'm going to find a way to do the show.
Who's goofing on you? You just did. And you did before. And you'll continue to do it.
It's total. This is really bad gaslighting. Like one of the worst I've ever seen him do.
Probably the worst in massive succession over days.
It's this and the gaslighting about not wanting to be married and stuff. That too. But also think about this. Surely now we've been doing this saga for a while. He has nothing new to bring to the table except for repurposing the same complaint about, oh, poor me. Gary can't take the heat. And Gary can't call in. Gary doesn't have a phone right now. Maybe he'll be calling in. We know he will. But point being, Shuli has no material. Every single time we've done this session, it's been the same complaints.
Right. He's supposed to be a third voice, but a second mic really, because Robin's not there, even though she's on the phone. But I don't count that. He's in person, and it's almost like he's a shitty, like sound drop that Fred forgot and hit accidentally with his elbow a couple times. That's how incidental he is.
But it's making it's making Howard worse because every time Shuli keeps bringing up these same issues because he has no fresh material, Howard gets back on this loop. And so this is the most agonizing show because Shuli has nothing new to say and Howard loves repeating the same complaints.
Well, if Artie was in there right now, just say, for example, if he was actually in studio, he wouldn't be agreeing with Howard. He'd have to be letting him rant and just keeping his mouth shut. Because that's how Artie was.
Well, I think he would do that for a while, but then maybe have some stories to regale us with.
Sure. Or something entertaining, because he'd be bored shitless. It'd be like when when he'd have a guest, like Kathy Griffin would come in and Artie would go to sleep. He would have to just tune out because he said, look, when some of these guests come in, this is a fucking day off for me because I know he doesn't want me interacting with them. And I have a feeling it's just not going to be funny. It's not going to be entertaining. So the best thing to do is let it go as quick as possible. Let him talk to them. And that's it. And if he brings me in the interview, fine, I'll talk. But otherwise, I'm going to want that one to go pass by as fast as possible.
Well, that's what Steve-O said, that Artie told him, you have no idea how many people waste our time.
Yes. Fuck yeah. Jesus.
That's why he loved when Steve-O came in.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll tell you if you're doing the show from the studio, don't you need to know who's going to be there? I go, no, whoever's there, I'll do the show with. I said, I know Fred's going to be there because I can depend on him to be there. He told me so.
You know who?
Well, there you go again.
Right.
But it's fine that he's not there. It's no big deal, right?
Right.
Which is it?
Mm-hmm.
Harry, that's not a put down of you. Fred said he will be there. I can depend on him being there. Why is that about you?
Because it's a backhanded fucking dig, you cocksucker.
Oh God, I don't have. If I had more middle fingers, I wish I did at this moment.
You wish you had 10 middle fingers.
Yeah. Give me another hand, please, God.
Oh my God! I tell you, I'm exhausted from this.
Take it back.
Doug Goodstein, I don't get this guy. I don't know what his story is, but fine. He wants to stay home. Stay home. Scott, the engineer, wants to stay home. Stay fucking home. I don't care.
Then shut the fuck up and move on.
This took 8 videos. I guarantee the Howard TV staff, they made us eight fucking videos because they wanted to illustrate exactly how much of a dickhead Howard was. Nothing else got this much coverage ever. Trips to Vegas, trips to the fucking Playboy Mansion, nothing. This was their way of fucking getting revenge at him. I guarantee it.
You're right. I never thought of it that way.
Literally 8. And they're an hour long. The wrap-up show, they made sure that the wrap-up show was fully featured there, sometimes for fucking 40 minutes. A couple times there's a 13-minute clip we're going to go through at one point. But generally, everything was documented for this thing.
This was their way to see, we're going to feature you prominent this week.
Yeah,
you're going to have a whole series on you.
Well, yeah, and I guaranteed Goodstein was saying, like, okay, we'll see how fucking good you are when we are all out of fucking studio and you have nothing to do, but all you're doing is ragging on us, and this is how funny you are, shithead.
And how narcissistic Howard is and how
Everything.
stupid Shuli is. He probably thought, oh, great, see how lame my staff is? See what a hard worker I am? Not even probably thinking how bad this is coming off.
But I might as well take off Wednesday. They took off Monday and Tuesday. What's the point?
Oh, we'll get the whole week.
Well, I know Governor Chris Christie wants us to stay off the road, so
Governor Chris Christie, I want to look like him.
Yeah.
Round.
Yeah, the governor.
The governor said stay off the roads. That means you're going to get pulled the fuck over if you are on the roads. It's not. Could you imagine if there's that state of emergency driving order, you say, I got to get to a radio show? A radio show. It's not like you're an EMT. You're not a nurse. You're not a doctor.
Firefighter.
Nothing. I have to get to the Howard Stern show.
Right.
Fuck you. Turn around and go home.
Isn't that the same situation in the winter? If they give you that stay-at-home order, they issue that order, they actually will impound you or tow you?
Yeah, you have to. They'll either you get a ticket or they turn you back around and you got to go home. They're not going to let you go.
Any idea how much that fine would be, like the ticket would be?
I don't know. I know a lot of people during the blizzard got tickets on their cars, which eventually they got rid of them, but the people who were on the roads and left their cars, because then the plows couldn't get through, and the
Right.
driving order was issued. So we told you not to drive, and now your cars are all over the fucking street and we can't get through.
Okay.
So then
how
they
much
gave
do you
them
think? Like
tickets.
a
And then
couple
they had
hundred,
to
do you think?
impound them. Yeah, because then they had to impound the cars and they had to
Yeah.
go get their own cars. Yeah.
Oh fuck, Jesus! What a bite out of your wallet, Jesus H Christ, and a
Well,
pain in
you
the
gotta
ass.
follow the rules.
Yeah, you do.
He's going to reschedule Halloween.
I mean, it was amazing. I can't even believe the show's up and running without Scott being here. 2 days and the show sounds as good as it ever sounded. Go figure. How do we do it?
Drink.
Ugh.
And even Jason, I mean, he had to run home yesterday. I'm like, Jason, what are you running home to? You got an apartment.
Ew.
I said, dude, stay in a hotel. No, I got to get home. Oh, okay. I didn't bust anybody.
These
down.
homes are like
You don't.
Yeah, I don't want to.
That is funny.
I'm a psycho. I feel psychotic listening to this.
Yeah, it is. It is nuts.
From some lawyer telling me that I killed Jason by making him stay at work. I don't want to hear it. Everybody makes their own decision. It just sets everybody off when I decide to come to work.
No, nobody cares.
No one cares that you go to work. They're pissed off that you're talking shit about them, that they're not there.
There's a statewide order not to drive.
Mm-hmm.
The hotel thing was sketchy till the last minute.
That's right. Like the first thing out of their mouths should have been, guys, next week we have it's not like the hurricane came out of someone's back pocket and they just hey guys, hey, look at this, I got this at the dollar store. It's they know days in advance this is coming. It could hit there theoretically. Who knows what ends of what cities it's going to hit, what parts of the state. But we know it's coming. That's what meteorologists do. They predict weather patterns and they see it with radar. It's not like they have it's not like they have a little, like the thing at the top of the barn that shows which direction the wind is coming from.
It's like being surprised that Christmas came around this year. They know when it's coming. They have a great idea. So they could have had, okay, guys, here's what we did. We blocked off these floors for the hotel across the street from our station. You guys bring your families. We catered all the meals because it's important for you to come into work.
If Gary couldn't sort out what to throw out of his own refrigerator, do you think they had the foresight to get budget considerations for hotels well in advance? No way. I guarantee it was that morning. Tim Sabian called a couple, whatever the Radisson or whatever the fuck it was, probably the fucking Howard Johnson, who knows, and said, can you give us a rate? And Howard, and maybe even went out of Tim's own pocket, but then he got the money from Sirius. We know this from later podcasts, interviews with Tim, and but in that moment, you don't know until it happens on that day. If you're the worker, how are you supposed to know this is an option?
But the weather was definitely known, and yeah, I'm so shocked they weren't planned. See that brilliant planner, Robin, who was upset on 9/11 that the mall was closing. Let's trust her.
I needed to go to Spencer's. I needed a World Trade Center crystal ball.
I needed a lava lamp.
Yeah.
And then I become an asshole, and I'm a jerk because I'm coming into work. I don't know. Maybe the 3-day-a-week schedule is killing everybody.
But I remember,
Too much.
being a kid, and as you said, in blizzards. And I guess my father thought it was important to have a job.
Oh, I bet he did.
Go to work in the.
I guess my father thought it was important to have a job. Okay, she's being sarcastic.
Was this before or after he pretend molested you, Robin?
Blizzard.
Right.
Yes, well,
And
my
somehow
refrigerator
the
is
house
important.
stayed there.
Right. Oh, yeah, my father wouldn't come home for 3 days. It's like,
This is
okay,
an
we stayed in the
insult.
house. And then
Somehow the house stayed there. This is an insult to any person who's ever lost their house to a natural disaster. This is after Katrina, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the blizzard. When was that? 2004, I think.
Uh-huh.
Or ish. Yeah, I think so. Well, first of all, in a blizzard, you don't necessarily lose your home. You might lose your power. And a fucking hurricane and typhoons, they level fucking properties. That's exactly what they do. tornadoes.
People lost power.
Mhm.
Like a blizzard, people lost power and died because of that.
Right. This is like she I'm surprised. If it was, 2023, it'd be Robin saying, you know what? The situation in Gaza right now, what? We had a blizzard. We went to work.
Yeah.
We were beheaded at a music festival. But you know
Like-
what? We made it in.
They're leveling buildings.
Yeah. Fuck.
Right, we
I
took
don't
care of
know.
the house.
What was he going to do anyway?
There was nothing to do.
If this tree falls on the house, I mean, well, that's like saying, well, if the world blows up,
the
if a tree
fucking
falls on the house, and then there's a
He
big hole in
can't
my
do
house,
anything.
and then I'm going to get a tarpaulin to cover the hole, and I mean, he's imagining scenarios that I mean, it's unbelievable.
Do you know what he would have to do if a tree fell into his house?
Well, I also like he's imagining Road Warrior, like
Right.
Mary and the kids are gonna be all alone. And
I will
Milton,
shoot the marauders.
I will be like
someone is trying
Mel
to.
Gibson.
Yeah, someone's
in
trying
Mad
to.
Max.
Someone's trying to eat Murphy. All hell is breaking loose.
I'll use gasoline as currency.
No, but he is right in the sense that when natural disasters happen, especially in shittier areas or even nicer areas, when the power's off, all the police and law enforcement arm are tied up doing so many different things. A lot of people take advantage of that and start smashing windows, breaking into homes, robbing, stealing, raping, robbing, the whole thing.
Sure. I mean, it's when society starts to crumble. All of a sudden, the worst elements. That's that's their time to shine and flourish. And say,
Yeah.
wow, this is our opportunity. I mean, I don't know. I haven't read the news reports since post pandemic how New York crime is what level it's at and stuff. But I've seen in the last few months some of the subway assaults and stuff like on the platforms and what have you that are just going through the roof.
Yeah, it's crime's out of control, and it's a lot. Theft is out of control. Assaults, random assaults too. So, of course, people use though natural disasters for its Gotham City all of a sudden real quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are zombies in my neighborhood. It's the
If a tree fell
Walking
into-
Dead.
Yeah.
If a tree fell into his house, he would have to leave the
Yeah,
house.
exactly. You know where he'd try to be? Manhattan, where it was
That's
dry.
right. He'd come to a hotel.
Absolutely, listen to Howard. Take him out. The tree falls on his house. He's gonna get out in the storm and. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot for trying to protect my house. Yeah, kinda.
He acts like trees aren't a big deal.
Yeah.
I got to make a Photoshop of Howard, the slouching dead. Fuck.
I really want like the tree from the Wizard of Oz to just pop up in the studio and just start beating the fuck out of Howard with apples. I hate him.
It'd be great.
He's gonna lift the tree. He's gonna get that retard
You
strength.
should have just put the trampoline on the roof. The
Yeah.
tree would have bounced right off.
Well, he could have bounced into Manhattan.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Oh, he's gonna.
What a joke!
Oh no, tree's falling. Get
That's
the
our
trampoline.
escape plan. If the tree falls on the house, Mary's gonna bounce on the trampoline and bounce to Pittsburgh.
And she's gonna tie a bungee cord around.
Did you see how great Julie set up that joke? Do you know how many great things that probably went through his mind? The trampoline on the house and the tree bounces on it.
Right,
Oh,
and-
wow,
and-
Julie.
And because I got half a chuckle out of this nitwit fucking pustada next to me, let me do a callback 5 seconds later. Because it's that strong.
Does it even mentally, when you think of a tree bouncing off a trampoline on the house, the absurdity of it, it's not even funny. It's
No,
not. It's a
no, if you've ever
horrible visual.
I remember it was Ice Storm 98. I remember specifically trees on houses going into rooftops.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
that's how old they were, that's how heavy they were, and that's how much, and literally falling down because of the weight of the ice on the goddamn tree. That's what people couldn't grasp.
Yeah, the damage from the blizzard that we had last year, there was trees everywhere. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Me, so when she bounces, she pulls me up in the air.
There she goes.
I still have that image of that Photoshop of the soup, the car, like brake fluid soup. It looks like a demented punch bowl in the Howard Stern household. Oh, Christ.
Oh my goodness.
We will be using the trampoline mechanism.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
if
good,
somebody,
Julie.
and they did, if somebody was predicting 80-mile-an-hour winds, I try to get away from my house and all trees.
My God, my apartment was nuts.
Where are you
They
going
say the
then,
better
Robin?
buildings sway with the wind, but holy mackerel. I'm sitting at my desk last night, and like all of a sudden I felt like I was on a boat, you know, when they rock back and forth.
Were you Patton Oswalt writing a letter to apologize for being friends with Dave Chappelle? Just at a desk. And so Shuli's done the trampoline thing now 3 times. This is his new, I spoke Hebrew to this old couple on an airplane joke again and again and again. Len and I are going to do a show where we use every single instance of him using that fucking joke and see if we laugh anytime and just see what the kind of stupid reactions are.
It's like somebody who pops a pimple and then can't stop touching it until it looks like a hole in their face. It's just enough.
It is more than enough.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I must be a fucking idiot. I'm like hallucinating. And then Beth says to me, do you feel like the whole, she goes, I'm getting a little seasick. I go, well, yeah, me too. It's crazy.
Wow.
Strong wind. And the
I
wind's
kept hearing noises.
creaking, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Robin, you're in a hurricane. I fucking can't.
I kept hearing noises. You're at the Amityville Horror. Robin. Friendlies.
Crazy.
I was like, what's that?
And I was like, oh, there's no way I'm going to fall asleep. It was so noisy. And I was like, 2 seconds later, I'm like unconscious.
It's good to sleep in a storm.
Oh my God, I woke up. It was like, where's the storm? There's no storm.
I know. I woke up the same way. I was like, I think it's over.
I said to Beth, we're going to need Ambien. And I was getting angry at Beth because Beth sleeps through anything. And I was like, we're going to need Ambien. And she goes, maybe all I know is I fell asleep and didn't wake up till 4 o'clock.
Well, that's a revelation. Ambien. So they have Ambien.
It's not a revelation. I've got loads of clips of him, not loads, but a few at least, talking about needing Ambien and relying. He definitely has a requirement for sleeping pills. He's talked about it for on and off. He's talked about it through a couple decades now.
I just didn't recall that.
Yep. So the thing is with him, it's always, he has to be pushed into something and before it becomes normal. So drinking didn't become normalized until he got single and someone put a drink in his hand and he loved how he felt, but he was never going to do it himself, like everything else in his life. Like, fucking like getting fucked up the ass. I'm sure Ralph suggested that to him too. And so when it came to, I'm sure with pills, the big worry, the big concern on him was, I'm going to lose control. And Ambien's just a sleeping pill, isn't it? Yes, you lose, you won't have control of your ability to stay up, but it doesn't mean, it's not really, is it really losing control? You just go to sleep.
It depends, because if you're somebody who pushes through that period, and that's like when you get in trouble, where you do things like people who are on Ambien, I've heard stories where they're cooking, they don't even remember.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember when listening to news stories, Roseanne tweeting, she didn't even remember sending the tweets.
That wasn't Ambien, that was something else, wasn't it?
No, it was Ambien. She was tweeting on Ambien.
So there's
times where if you don't go to sleep, when you're supposed to, and you push through that period, you kind of have no memory of what you're doing. It's like being asleep awake.
Would it be a situation where they didn't take enough, or it just didn't work no matter, because of that, for their body chemistry, it didn't help them?
I'm not sure.
Curious. Yeah, I guess. So what was an Ambien? The company decided Ambien does not cause people to make racist tweets. That's not one of the side effects.
No, at least I hope not.
Yeah. And I hate to defend Roseanne because I can't stand her. I found her completely obnoxious. But if you saw that the woman if you looked at the woman who she did make fun of, she doesn't necessarily, I don't know that you'd presume she was African American.
Well, that was Roseanne's whole point. She didn't know she was black. She thought she was white.
Well, there you go. And that's a plausible defense. I hate to say it.
I thought so too.
Yeah, I mean, does it make her a better person for making stupid statements on fucking Twitter? No, but it might lessen the
I wouldn't
severity.
be on social media if I knew I took an Ambien.
No kidding. Fuck. There should be some Ambien lockout control.
Yeah.
She was up all night. I guess I had unstressed so much on her that. Oh, by the way, what am I going to do about the Jimmy Kimmel show? Now, Jimmy.
Oh, well, he canceled last night.
Yeah, the only problem is there more storm coming, or
I don't
are we
think
done?
so.
Oh, no more.
I think
and this was when Kimmel was based in New York, I suppose.
So, Jimmy, are you going to give him shit for canceling his show? Are you going to say,
what a pussy?
I can't depend on Jimmy?
No, because Jimmy's famous. He's more famous than Howard at this point. Go figure.
Right.
Yeah, so Bowie, you need your own show on the WB, and then you'll be fine. Put your trampoline up Howard's ass. He's happy with that.
Most of it is gone. That's
They
for
said
sure.
there still could be flash thunderstorms, some flooding.
Yeah, flooding is also.
What is it,
strong
JD?
possibility.
If you want at 7:30, that John Blairs will be here. He can tell you what's going on.
That was clear.
That's the weatherman.
Did you sleep here last night?
No, I slept in a hotel room.
Oh, you did?
I mean, I barely got any sleep, though.
Why don't you?
He looks like every fucking road animal that's been hit by a car and smushed right now.
It's unbelievable that
Unbelievable that
he's
married.
made it in life whatsoever. It's amazing.
It's extraordinary. Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who you would expect to be with handcuffs, going up to the bench, waiting for the judge to lay down the statement.
I mean, for real, he just reminds me of one of those people that never leaves their basement with like a headset on, playing, some video game or chatting on the internet. Nothing else.
Right.
Worried about the mechanism?
I was very nervous about everything going on today.
Yeah.
We were also like 2 blocks away from that crane that's about to fall.
I know.
I know.
We're like 2 blocks away
Did you
from
see that crazy crane? JD.
Well, just get a trampoline and the crane will bounce off. Listen, so a crane that weighs like, I don't know, 20 tons is going to be displaced because there's that strong winds. But there's nothing wrong. Like nobody needs to stay home.
Why couldn't it have decapitated at least one of them?
At least.
I'm glad I could depend on you being here. Thank you. Seriously.
right.
Yeah. Good job. This kid was
Well,
up
he
here.
has no house.
He was doing Jason's job and Gary's job, and him and Steve Brandano were doing the job.
And then Al helped out, then Jim McClure, and everyone back.
Jimmy McClure, Al.
No.
You know what this crew's called, Howard? The Dependables.
Yeah.
That's what these guys are.
Shirley, thank you so much, dude. That was like a Richard Lewis line.
Oh, he was thinking about that for so long, and it hits so poorly. By the way, I noticed how JD doesn't shit on anybody for not being here. He's just like, no big deal. All right.
Because
I slept at a hotel.
Because
okay.
at the very least, he knows what Shuley's doing is going to cost him. He doesn't want to lose what little he has.
He doesn't
Shuley
shit
doesn't
on
care.
anybody. So go
no.
JD.
Well, I mean, in that respect alone, yeah, I guess.
And then there are the undependables.
Yeah, the Expendables.
The Expendables.
Oh.
Thanks for clarifying the Pelicans, retarded thinking. And
How's
meanwhile, it's
Alabama?
based on
Expendable.
expendable.
Yeah, right.
So, guys, right now, Gary's actually managed to find a way to call in. So here we go with Bowie doing his, his rebuttal.
All right, Gary. You calm down. Robin, do you want to speak to Gary?
Why not?
All right, Baba Booey is on the phone.
He called in.
Yeah. Baba Booey.
I want to find out if the house is still there.
How did you make out with the house? Any trees fall on it, or did the trampoline get away from you?
Hey, can I make a quick statement?
Yes.
I want to point out to both of you guys that I harbor no animosity or resentment. When I said yesterday, you guys have different circumstances, that's what I meant. And I'm getting some weird feedback on this phone, by the way, so I apologize.
Yeah, well, first of all, you attacked me because all I said to you is,
Gary, are you staying at Dominic's?
Gary attacked Howard?
Right.
What?
Yeah. Welcome to opposite day, Sam.
Oh.
Can I
Hello.
depend on you being here? Meaning, who is going to be here tomorrow and who isn't? And then you went into a long, and I don't want to rehash it, but you went into a long, like vicious attack about my.
we don't
want to rehash it. Oh, why? Because you look like a fucking asshole.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Lifestyle, how I have more than you.
No, it's not about.
And it was just like, hey, Gary, I wasn't. I just said to you, look, if you want to stay in the city with your family or alone, there's an option. We have a hotel room for you. I found myself to be very accommodating. And I feel that I was very much attacked by you and my lifestyle.
I wasn't trying to attack you. I was feeling defensive because you were calling my loyalty into question. And I think
you got paranoid when I said, can I depend on you? You don't like how I word things.
So this is the third time Gary came back, but not armed with anything.
I don't understand why he's being so stupid. You should have, by now, how do you not realize he's gaslighting the fuck out of you? And he's lying.
Also, how do you not realize that there's no winning this with him? There's just no winning. Like, unless
I
you're
wouldn't
prepared,
have called in.
Well, that's the point. You have to leave him. You have to be like Allison and just say, goodbye. That's it. And unless you're prepared to go in there and say, fuck you, and fuck you, you fat loaf of fucking dog shit. You're at home right now. You have no, like to Robin. And Shuli say, well, Shuli, you don't give a fuck about your family one bit. You never have. And you want to lay waste to the napalm the entire studio and prepare your CV for another job, because there's no way Howard would stand for that from Gary.
Right. I feel like Gary should have not called in. He should have, poured a bottle of scotch, put on some fucking vinyl, him and Mary have a nice day off, chain smoke all day.
Yes. Do your edibles.
Yeah. Fuck him.
Absolutely. Like that would have been the smart way, but Bowie is not smart.
No, he's not.
Jesus.
But that was what it was. It wasn't an attack. It was about, can I depend on you to be here? You said you cannot. After much me dragging it out of you, finally you said, look, you can't depend on me to be here. And I said, okay, that's it. Don't worry about it.
No, you didn't.
Even last night when you called.
We've just listened to an entire section of it wasn't okay.
Mm-hmm.
What have we been listening to? Am I insane?
No, you're not.
Me to ask about the mechanism by which I would determine whether I was going to be here.
By the way, I meant by that, I just wanted to know how I would know whether you were going to be on.
I said, turn on your radio and you'll know.
Oh, that's professional.
Yeah, exactly.
Before I turn on my radio?
How will I know until I listen? Will I be on the phone calling you as I'm battling to get in here? No. I'm going to try to...
like he's hacking through weeds.
I know. Like he's...
Jungle burger.
The craziest part, though, is, yes, I even forgot about this. Howard, up until the last minute, wasn't sure if he was even going to be in there. So his lack of preparation for himself even was leaving everybody up in jeopardy. So why would anybody fuck up their whole day trying to get into the city, figuring out driving bans, worried about their family, and then come to find out he doesn't even show up?
If the boss is going to leave it to the last day of the year, Christmas or whatever, to tell people whether they got rehired or not, like literally days before their contract is supposed to be up, then he doesn't give a fuck about a national emergency or a statewide emergency.
But that's a great parallel and point. This is essentially the same mentality and how he handled that situation. He doesn't care about them whatsoever.
No, not at all.
In here, when I get in here, I'm going to get the show set up. You're not here. What are you worried about?
Well,
I mean, if you're so worried about me, then be here. Once you're not here, I got to figure out how I'm going to get here. What good does it do me to call you to tell you I'm on my way in here?
Well, you didn't have to. Someone else could. But that's the point. I think
well, then you arrange for that. Why do I have to arrange for it?
And you know that Sussy is on his farm laughing at all the idiots who stayed behind. Now.
Yeah, he's just so at peace with the world listening to this, knowing he made the right decision. But he knew it back then as he was making it. You could tell because nothing bothered him. He just let it fly all off his back. Unlike Gary.
He left a year before this, and he could see it as plain as like he could not see that there's going to be a fucking hurricane. I'm not that stupid, but he knew that there was just more of this debasement headed everybody's way.
Well, if it wasn't going to be the hurricane, it was going to be your let go a week
Something.
before my 50th birthday, and I'm going to tell you with little notice or fanfare or goodbyes
on the air.
Yeah, on the air. But listen to him saying to Gary right now. He's saying, how did I know I was going to get in, or how are you that? And then he said the thing before, he was saying that, oh, we prepared these hotel rooms. You could have stayed at a hotel. And now he's saying that he had nothing prepared. That
Zero responsibility for his own show.
Gary, just hang up the phone.
Mm-hmm. Leave it.
Well, I was just, you could have said, hey, call Ronnie, call Tim. I'm just trying to
I don't know what you
now.
should do. I don't know. You're a big boy. You figure it out.
You're the boss. If you don't know what he's supposed to do, what is the point? Tim, this is all because he didn't make any decisions. So Tim's running around with his head cut off, trying to figure out hotels, no hotels, food, no food. Everything that's happening right now is because of your lack of leadership, you coward.
His lack of leadership and his insane need to have everybody dancing on hot plates, like chickens on hot plates. And I can only imagine the level of stress. Think of poor Tim, who is got sick parents at this point in time. He doesn't know what the fuck he's going to do. He knows that this show is going to shit. It's going to, and the shit, whatever shitgate, all that stuff, fuck that. But every decision he makes is his own decision. And he doesn't know if he's going to be praised for it, if he's going to get yelled at. How could you do that? I didn't okay a budget for fucking hotels. Who's paying for that? I'm not paying for it. That's Howard. That's Howard going like, and then why didn't you get hotels?
Well, any of the things that Howard during this time period yelled at either Tim, Gary, Jason, Scott for is because he's running this like a retarded Cirque du Soleil. Like you said, the plate spinning, and he's doing it on purpose. So they're not doing well, or they quote unquote fuck up, is because there's zero guidance, zero leadership, nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I did.
Yeah. You figured it out. So there it is.
The other thing I wanted to say is you said to everyone, hey, do what you need to do.
Right.
And then when they did.
What did I do to you? I said to you, Gary, you attacked me.
You spent the first hour of the show saying that I'm not loyal to the show, and
I didn't say you weren't loyal to the show.
You're putting words into his mouth. He never said that.
I didn't say you weren't loyal.
Yeah,
I'm goofing on you because what?
I can't really do the phone call because there's something weird going on. Every time I talk and you talk, it just doubles up.
All right, I'll talk to you some other day.
Okay.
Bye-bye. All right. I mean, this guy is a lunatic.
I'm crazy. Just put me in the fucking nut house.
Me too.
He was calling me last night. I go, Gary, I don't know what to tell. He wanted a prediction.
We should have found out what mechanisms are.
Yeah, he wanted to know what mechanism will you use to determine if you're coming in? And I went.
Meanwhile, Shirley's cosplaying as the Little Prince.
This is so mental, and we're back on this carousel. We just made it around. The Ferris wheel went around. We passed the carny, and now we're back up again. And now we go back down again. Now we're back up again.
It's like being locked on the scrambler for 365 days. I don't again, this is the thing that bothers me about constant defenders of the show. Okay. In 2023, this reuse of unfunny material, and people say he's a genius and he's a good interviewer. He's not a good editor. He's not a good interviewer, guys. The Paul Simon interview. If I wish to God I could put that on YouTube. I would give up a testicle because it means less to me at this point in my life, and it won't affect me. Then just to have that episode on YouTube for people to listen to. We tried.
Please don't hurt your balls for this show.
Well, my point is I'm willing to pull a Lance Armstrong and get rid of one for the sake of that clip to be out there, because
it's
my
so
God,
good.
The laughing Len and I did, and we only went through like half of it. We only went through the first pish break. And so At the end of it, I was going, "Welcome, darkness."
It's the
my old
second
friend."
time you made me think of it.
Which
It's like you're like, you know what? I think I'm gonna make Sam
Oh,
not
laugh.
be able to speak.
Well, I'll do my best. That's always my That's always my goal.
I mean, I don't even understand the question.
Who talks like that?
Yeah, mechanism.
I want to know what the mechanisms are.
The mechanism is I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna see if I can get here. Then he goes, well, who's going to alert me? I go, you mean in the middle of me trying to get into work, I should call you and alert you?
Mind you, what kind of fucking piece of shit asshole is this unorganized and thinks they should be a partner in Sirius?
Could you imagine, like, I mean,
God damn it!
You know what? So, sir, what's the plan for the raid tomorrow, Captain? Well, if I wake up tomorrow,
What day is it tomorrow?
and I feel like picking up a rifle and charging at the enemy, I'll let you know. What do I have to call you?
So reminded me of that joke Don Rickles made about Dean Martin. He goes, "Could you imagine him in the war? Attack! Oh, better go lay down first."
This is it. I mean, for real, what I'm supposed to call you? How unprofessional is this? I've never heard anything more unprofessional in my life.
The epitome of the lack of awareness, lack of like knowing your surroundings, lack of concern for the people around you, and lack of accountability was the Gary dinner party. That was the one where he threw every single person under the bus. And that was the perfect example. That was the time everybody should have had a meeting en masse, like secretly, whatever, and said, "Look, guys, if it wasn't already available on fucking full color, like a fucking Presto Magic set, this is it. This is what this guy is like, and this is what he's only going to get worse." You had to know that was like that was a watershed moment for the Stern Show.
Yeah, this too. I think the stoners I worked with when I was 16 at a pizza place were at a more organized place of business.
Did the pizzas come out in odd shapes?
It's just so crazy.
So it's like, again, so by 2012, so 5 years later, 4 years later, perhaps, maybe 2008, I can't remember. It's actually way worse, and they still haven't figured it out. And I read somewhere on Reddit recently that someone has blamed, and I agree, actually, on a certain level, they all should have bailed. They all should have been looking for other work somewhere rather than put up with this shit as they did for so long, some of these people.
Well, this is why I don't have so much sympathy. I mean, in this situation, I understand the frustration because I feel crazy listening to it.
Yes.
But you didn't unionize, you didn't leave, you didn't organize yourselves. Once you realize this is the fucking shit cherry on the top of this industry and this fucking show, why wouldn't you organize amongst yourselves and figure it out?
On this shitty banana split. He's feeling super sexy.
Super.
Well, how will I know? I go.
We're gonna.
I go turn on the radio. No, but shouldn't I know beforehand as the producer? I go, but you're not here to produce. So what the fuck is the difference?
I'll put up a bat signal.
I mean, it's crazy. Sometimes I don't get him, and he's got a high IQ according to our test. But sometimes he sounds silly to me.
Yeah.
I've never seen a producer who's so worried about a show he's not here to produce. I mean, he's like,
is he watching gay porn to the right of him? I still to this day would love to know what he never looks that far in that direction in all those years.
You want to know what it is? He's waiting for Shuli to, like, Artie would always have a tit for tat, a back and forth. He's looking around for something to break this awkward silence.
It could be.
He's looking around for something.
And Shuli not having the actual confidence that he belongs there, like knowing he doesn't belong there inherently, like subconsciously he knows this is a mistake sitting in that chair. He knows it. He just won't allow himself to admit that. And he's going to shoehorn himself in regardless, knowing it's not going to fit and knowing he doesn't belong there. But he doesn't have the confidence Artie always had to speak when he wanted to and to know when to add something. And also, Shuli inherently doesn't have anything to add.
Give him some credit, Fillmore. I mean, it's really complicated to put together another trampoline joke.
Fuck.
Well, how
this Jewish couple had a trampoline on the airplane, and I told her to go. I told him to go fuck her ass. Yeah,
wait, let me hear that Scott the engineer impression again. One more time.
Yeah, exactly.
I know if you're here. I said turn on your radio. You'll know where I am. It's a simple process. Well, I should know beforehand. I'll stop everything and call you. What good is that going to do me?
Well, what would he?
It might do Gary some good.
So the instructions are turn on the radio.
Yeah. I should have been there today. Okay, I fucked up. I'll be in there. Yeah. So better to show up an hour late to work.
It reminds me of really, Fillmore. This is what he's making him do. He's making him like when you're in school and you hope you have a snow day, you have to watch the news. Like back in the 90s, you'd see if your school was on the list on Channel 2 under schools closed.
Do you imagine the meteorologist going, "Hey, I don't know. There's 15 feet of snow, but maybe you got to make your way to school and find out."
Yeah, imagine, hey kids.
And there's kids in the snowbank with their faces face down. And legs
imagine
up
the principal saying, "What am I supposed to call all you fucking kids?
Right.
You just better show up and see."
Just bring a shovel. The urinals are covered in snow. Someone left the window open.
How am I supposed to know? Do with the information.
I don't know. I couldn't determine what he was going to do with it once he knew.
I don't think he even knows.
Once I know, I don't know, Robin. Once I learn, it was crazy. Look, I don't want to spend the whole show talking about him, although we could. I'm going to write it down.
What?
Oh, God. I don't want
All we've talked about is trampolines, trees, and Gary.
It's subliminal. I bet at the end of this week, there was a huge run on trampolines all over New York.
Does he have some sort of backdoor deal?
Does he have stock in trampolines?
Is he buying a fucking nursery?
Oh, God.
Statement alone.
Well, I'll remember for posterity. Oh, my God. I was like, I said to Beth, I don't follow Gary's logic. She goes, what's going on? I said, well, he calls me and he wants to know the mechanism, but she goes, well, maybe he's worried. I go, listen, I'm worried too, but how is he helping? He's in Connecticut and he wants to know at what point I'm going to decide whether I'm going in.
What an asshole.
Mrs. Smith, do we have school today? I don't know. Why don't you fucking just show up and see?
Told him when I wake up. And then he didn't like that answer. He wanted a bulletin before then.
Oh, God. What an asshole for wanting advance notice.
What?
Hey, Fillmore, are we going to record? I don't know. Maybe. Turn on your mic. Turn on Skype, and maybe I'll be there.
Maybe. Hey, the other shows run like that.
Yeah, is your computer plugged in?
I don't know.
Wake up in the middle of the night to call him. I'll walk out on the street.
But you still wouldn't know at that time.
I wouldn't know. I didn't know I was going to get here till I got here. And then when I got here, I got to work.
Well, how am I supposed to know that?
Yeah, right. That's what he kept saying, though. Right. I mean, it's crazy. And now he's going to be mad at you. But then what do I know? You don't know anything.
But I need to know.
Yeah. How will I know when you wake up? I think he wanted me to call him.
Who's
on first? When I got up? And that wouldn't have even been able. I wouldn't be able to tell him anything then.
You'd have to assess the situation. Is Ronnie downstairs?
Right.
You know, are the streets passable?
I didn't know anything.
Are the streets open?
Gary, I'm awake. Yes.
Now I'm going to go.
Now I'm going to go downstairs. Do you know if you're going in yet?
What is your mechanism for getting downstairs?
I mean, it was the craziest thing. I mean, it was like retarded.
What is your mechanism for...
Oh, my God. What's on second?
And then he starts to attack me because he thinks I'm goofing on his loyalty. I'm not. I just want to get to work. He feels guilty not being here, and he's blaming me.
Right. Do you know at one point somebody told me that they were thinking of shutting down the elevators in most of the building?
Right. And guess what I would have done? I would have walked downstairs.
Yeah.
Poor Robin wouldn't have been able to.
Oh, nope. You better get that green drink.
Yeah. Oh.
Would take me a little longer.
What mechanism will you use
to determine if you should walk down the steps? I was like, Gary, this is crazy.
What do you have planned today? What's going on?
What he wanted from me. He was bothering me. He had his choice.
Are you nervous for today?
Side. JD's side.
Of course.
Of course. You want to make sure everything goes all right. You know?
So
want everything to go seamless, you know, as if the actual executive producer is here.
So normally it's like a 6-man team, and you guys are down to 2, I guess.
Oh, listen, we got engineers dealing with the phones, and Lieberman and Ronnie are over here, so.
All right, I'll let you go. Good luck today.
Yeah, check the pictures.
So Shirley's got a double duty as the cameraman.
How many ugly roadkill scuzz buckets does it take to screw in a light bulb?
Guys, this is the wrap-up show segment from the following day, I believe, or no, this is an intro, but this is the same day. But he later clipped this add-on to introduce it.
Do you feel dizzy?
A little bit, yeah.
Hey, it's Gary Delabate, Baba Booey. Tuesday's wrap-up show was a very special wrap-up show because I wasn't here. John wasn't here because of the storm. None of us were here. You might have heard about that. I did it from my neighbor's phone at home. John had some sort of weird ISDN line set up. Some people were here in the studio, so it was very interesting. This is what happened.
Can you, did Gary lose a button? What is that shirt?
We're not going to go. People can't see it, but it's not paying attention to the video.
So, rough morning for you, Gary, and I'm not talking about the weather.
Yeah, you know, it's an interesting thing. I thought, you know, I left everything in good hands. I did not go to sleep last night with the idea that I was not coming in this morning. I knew that it was a distinct possibility, but I thought I'd make every effort. So I was up at about 4:15. Tim and I spoke a couple of times, and I got a hold of Ronnie, and Ronnie said, "Don't even bother. The bridges and tunnels are closed. There's no way that you're getting in."
So Ronnie did the mensch thing. This is why we said, God bless Ronnie and Stephanie. We hope Mazel. We hope they have a fun, wonderful, whatever much life he's got left. I don't mean that facetiously. I mean Ronnie's an old fucking guy. Like, let's be honest, it could happen. And with the lifestyle he's had, I'm sure it's not exactly like his heart he's got the heart of a young Bruce Jenner, or Caitlyn. And so Ronnie did the right thing, and everybody he had at that wedding he wanted there. Like, clearly from the pictures, it was like a real familial atmosphere, and so he does the right thing, the mensch thing, and tells Gary, don't even think about it. And Ronnie smartly is not. You don't hear him getting shit on.
Did you just hear the bridges and tunnel? What was Bowie supposed to do? Ride that trampoline into work?
Right.
How is he supposed to get there anyway, even if he wanted to?
Right, and also, how's he supposed to move around if he can't take his car in, or even if he can? Like, okay, he's going to stay at a hotel. Now he's stuck at the hotel. Now what?
Or he gets stuck in his car
on the way.
So you're going to be happy if Gary's like stuck on a road, the side of the road for a day?
Or they tow him because he wasn't supposed to be on the roads.
Exactly.
Right. Gary, how could you get fucking towed? Oh, everybody knows you just leave your car and what? Take the subways that are fucking flooded now?
Or just stay at that hotel we might have offered, didn't offer, not sure if we offered.
Right.
Did we? Didn't we? I'm not sure if I'm going to be there. Turn on the radio.
Right. Do I have to pay for this hotel? I have no idea. What's the story? Like, do I have to submit receipts? Anything? Anybody? Bueller?
And so now I'm trying to figure out a way to listen to the show because I should point out, I have no internet, no telephone. I am calling from my neighbor's house right now, who for some reason is the only person in the neighborhood with a hard line. I have a lighting system in my house, which blew up last night and, started smoking in the basement. So I don't really have lights on the first floor. But listen, I have a generator.
Smoking, as in fire.
Yeah, that could have been a house fire. An electrical fire is no joke.
And the smell of 9,000 pieces of vinyl would have been tremendous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that makes me think too, like last time, even during the blizzard, like I was like, now this is reminding me, I did think about getting a landline because there is no cell service. And it's like really anxious if there is an emergency and you don't have a phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a landline was not 10 years ago, 15 years ago. We got rid of it because we weren't using it because cell phones became much more the quality. Calling home back in Canada was not that much of a problem anymore, and it was easier with Skype and stuff like that. And we just weren't using it, so we got rid of it. But it would always come in handy in a situation like that.
Yeah, my parents have one just because they're older and, they watch my daughter and my sister's kids a lot. So just in case. But then once the blizzard happened, I thought about getting one because we had no cell service. And now I didn't do it, of course, but now I'm thinking about it again because it's true. You do need a phone in case of emergency.
Well, yeah, but then then you got to think about how many other people can you get a hold of because they don't have landlines.
That's so true.
So now you're gonna buy yours and your friends.
Well, I guess you could call 911 is the point.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can get through.
I get satellite TV, my refrigerator's working, and I can charge, devices, but I can't really use much. So this morning was a whole thing about like, well, how am I going to listen to the show? So what I ended up doing was listening to the show on Mary's iPhone because I needed my phone to be clear for calls coming in and out or texts or any of that stuff. And I was having a little trouble getting on, so I said, I'm going to go to the car. I actually went outside of my car and started up my car, took it out of the garage, and, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking like, well, he may open up, he may say a few words about it, but I will be honest, I was not prepared for a full hour.
I don't understand. He said, how was I going to listen to the show? This is 2012. They do have streaming available, I believe, in 2012.
Well, this shows how great the app worked.
Well, I'm saying like, so the app works, the phone won't?
Well, the point is that the app on the phone wasn't good. So he had to go onto the car. Remember? Because that's the point. That's just showing how good. He just totally trashed the app without realizing it.
Yeah. Christ. What do you do for a living?
He had to go sit in his garage to hear himself get bashed for an hour.
Yeah, I mean, he unleashed on you in a lot of different ways, but one thing you and I were actually texting back and forth a little bit, Gary, was does Howard understand why somebody would want to be in their house with their family during this disaster? And it was a disaster.
No.
I mean,
no.
There's never been a story.
Why is that even a question?
Is the sky blue? What are you talking about? He hates his family.
He hates your family too.
I'm like this here before.
Correct.
Yeah, listen, I feel like this is like butting heads. I feel like some people look at it like Gary's, not going to listen to Howard. Gary's going to do what Gary wants to do. And it's not that at all. I wanted to be there this morning more than anything. But I also knew that last night was going to be scary, terrifying, and dangerous. And I had my wife and my son and the pets. I'll throw the pets in. And, and it was scary. And it was one of those things where, at one point Mary said to me, she turned around to me and she said, thank God you're here tonight, because if you weren't, I don't know what I would do.
I can't believe how abused Gary is that he thinks the listeners are going to hear this and think ill of him. That he is that mentally abused by Howard, that this is his thinking. That could be the farthest thing from the truth. Like, we listened to that whole hour and think Howard is insane.
There's no one, I don't think there's anyone except for maybe a couple fucking trolls on Reddit that would have given Bowie shit they would have given her shit for just being stupid during the course of these exchanges. But everybody thought Howard was the asshole. They polled it. It was like 95%. And all the messages he's getting clearly is against him. because he's only
But
bringing up
does-
negative stuff.
But doesn't this just demonstrate like how pervasive his gaslighting, mind control, narcissistic abuse is? That's Gary's thought?
Yeah, the cult has its hooks in him like fully, and this is the end result. It's
Wow.
really it's disturbing. It is
I'm
like
disturbed.
he said Bowie said he went to see a psychologist about issues with his mother growing up, and of course he had an awful with his in terms of his dad. His dad was a mensch, from what we all understand, and a really
Right.
like a man's man and a good dad. But his mother had mental issues, extreme
Right.
mental issues. I read the book one time, but I knew from audio from the show. So he said he went to the psychiatrist or the psychologist, and he said he couldn't get anywhere with after a certain point, but he stopped going. He would need a psychologist to help him with dealing with the show, like almost like not a grief counselor, but like, what do you call it, like an encounter group.
Yeah, it would be like being in one of those, surviving Nexium, surviving Scientology.
Yes, absolutely. So that's at the wedding, like because there was some concern, like Richie said, there was a little concern that maybe they wouldn't mix well with the other staffers, like the newer staffers that were invited, because Ronnie was long term
Right,
at
you
the
said
show,
that,
and everybody else.
yeah.
Yeah, and so he, I imagine they all kind of commiserated, and that's like they all found common ground being abused by this piece of shit.
Yeah, we said that I bet they're all like slowly but surely all talking shit, but it has to feel good, like strength in numbers, because now the show has been bad for so long. I think, and he hasn't been in studio either, which cuts off that part of the abuse when you're not in the studio. So I think being a little bit more far removed from it and now all coming together, I hope it was cathartic for them.
Yeah, and I'd say that the workers that like the office staffers that they have working behind the scenes, calling in the fake callers and stuff, that disassociation by not being in studio and not having the personal abuse that Gary would get all the time, that they can just treat it like they're being marginalized, but not necessarily abused, like the way we
Not the
determine.
extent that Gary is.
No way. So Gary, long term, whatever, like I said, for years, if he came in with an axe one day and just decided to, chop Wiggy up into kindling, it wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Same. I wouldn't care either.
No one would care. The cops would be going, the judge would be going, case dismissed.
Yeah, look the other way.
Yeah, Gary's in there with a bloody, like, Bruno Mali. So.
I'm sorry, I didn't see nothing. Did you see something? No, I didn't see nothing.
Gary who?
And, trees start snapping in the front yard, and that's scary. The lights start going off and on, off and on, off and on. And like I said, it blew out the lighting system. So then we smell smoke, and Mary's like, ready to call the fire department. I'm like, hold on. And so we weren't prepared to be without lights. So now I had to go look for all my I didn't really replace any of my flashlights because I know the generator will kick in. And so there were scary moments last night. Now,
yeah, but what does a generator have to do with fucking alkali batteries in your fucking flashlights?
But that is so bad to be thinking about. If I thought about me being in that situation alone with a child or two children or whatever, and a dog, and I smell smoke, the lights are off. What if the generator doesn't kick in? I mean, yes, Gary had to be home, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Did a tree hit my house? No. Did anything bad happen to my family? No. But it's easy to look back on it now. My family was scared. I was scared for them, and that was really what it was all about.
Hey, Gary, can you see me or can just John see me?
Just John.
Is the trampoline okay?
Well, I can't see you now, Benji. You got to move the iPad over a little bit.
Who cares, really?
But yeah, you're.
But Benji, just sit down, write some stuff, and see if you can derail the conversation a little more.
Yeah, Gary, your trampoline.
Could we get Shuli's wife to call in, please?
Yeah, no kidding. Another party not heard from.
My couple hits during the show today as well.
I know the trampoline was fine. It's funny that I'm humored by. You know what I mean? That's one of the things you sort of bring up as an afterthought. You don't think it's going to get as much traction. I mean, I got tweeted thousands of fine trampoline pictures yesterday. Some of them I was photoshopped into, and I thought all that stuff was funny.
Hey, people were wondering
that is funny actually when the image becomes a bit of the Stern lore. That was always funny. Like when people would do Photoshop. I still love doing Photoshops.
I love a good meme.
Yeah, absolutely. The one I think I told you the Len, the one that was the Alec Baldwin where Grover's coming through a door. It says Grover and Alec Baldwin's in the room. He says, Grover's just checking to see if there's any guns present.
So good.
Do you actually use a trampoline?
No, Betsy, my kids did at one time, but then you get to a point where they don't use it, and then sometimes the neighborhood kids use it, and then you get to a point where you just don't want to get rid of it, but you should, and that's where it is right now. I'll probably get rid of it this summer.
And, we mentioned it on our weather show last night. Gary's Trampoline has its own Twitter handle now.
See, that's funny.
That's actually really funny.
Gary's Trampoline.
At
Gary's Trampoline. Or at Gary's Flying Trampoline.
At Bowie's Trampoline. This is great.
Oh, God, I didn't know that. I don't remember that.
That's funny. You're goofing on the stuff that I do and everything, but that's funny. But somewhere along the line, and this is what I was trying to say this morning. First of all, the phone lines this morning were horrendous. I was the first one.
Hey,
I should have waited until somebody
Gary.
tested it out. It was just horrendous. And what was happening was every time I spoke, it literally like a quarter of a second later, it reminded me of trying to make a long-distance phone call in the 60s. A quarter of a second later, I would hear my voice, and when Howard speak, I would hear...
It makes it hard to feel sympathetic for him because
Yeah.
he's so fucking annoying.
Well, he is annoying. There's no question. He's also incredibly stupid, having called in 3 fucking times to defend himself when there's no need.
We could feel sympathetic for you, Gary, if you got to the fucking point. We know the phones didn't work well. But this is part of the abuse. He has to keep. Do you hear him like a little child making excuses up for himself? Like he is so fucked up and annoying.
Well, the show has made him like it's created a psychosis in him.
Yes.
That it's like you step in a pair of well-worn fucking like blood-soaked running shoes that you put on only for this job, and everything on every piece of shit you've stepped on is on those shoes. You haven't cleaned them, and so Bowie has to get into this mode where it's no surprise to me that he's a henpecked piece of shit because he. Like Mary, not as a grifter, but she must have, there's something in her upbringing that made her decide, I need someone who's a complete wet noodle.
Yeah.
That I can just bitch
Simp.
around. The simp,
total
complete simp. And he's on the show. Maybe he'll make some more money. I don't think Mary's a grifter, but I don't think it was not in her mind that she might get some fringe benefits out of him being with the Stern Show. There's no question.
There have been times where I think she has gone to bat for him a bit, but
Maybe.
I think she thinks he's a simp and a total fucking pushover.
Right. And that was the, like, to me, most likely the main reason why she got with him. And then all like secondary reasons all include maybe getting some swag from the show, that kind of shit, or some residual. Like they went with Christine and Sal to Amsterdam that one Heineken trip after John left. Before that fucking sponsorship went out the window. And that was a free trip. I mean, that's not a small thing.
When you see though, when you're listening to this bumbling and excuses and this apologetic, defensive sort of speaking, how can you respect somebody like this?
You can't, certainly not. And not the least of which is the reason, like not least of which because Howard has debased him so long, and Gary continually proves the story right.
You just said that your house could have had an electrical fire, the power's going in and out, everything like that. Right. And now you're just talking about the phone connection? Shut the fuck up. You don't need to say anything else.
Nope.
His voice. So it got to the point when we were both speaking, I was hearing 4 voices at once. But the point I was trying to make this morning is, Howard said I attacked him yesterday, and I felt I got very defensive. There's no doubt. Maybe I lashed out, but it wasn't. I didn't feel like I was attacking. I felt like I was defending myself, my work ethic, and my family. And it was a weird thing. And when I said to Howard, again, with Shuli in there and Robin in there, the truth gets bent to a place where it's almost unrecognizable.
Well, that's true. That's absolutely true. and we're going to hear we're going to hear the results of that afterwards.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. They're doing great.
If you weren't a boxer, what would you be doing?
To lie to somebody.
do you think there should be random drug testing for athletes?
Yeah, but most athletes are more clean anyway. They just go to a head thing. I mean, they go into they just make everything clean. So yeah, they should.
Can't believe he went into boxing.